Let me go back to Mr. Matthews. Would you give us the agreement, the lease agreement with the Monaco Hotel and GSA, and let us know when you give it to us if they have paid more than the base rent and paid their rent based on the percentage of gross proceeds provision?
I'd be happy to take that request back, and we'll respond to your request.
All right, that's good that you'll do that, but you don't know for a fact if they have paid more than their minimum rent.
I don't know, and again, if there are provisions in the lease that restrict the financial information, we'll certainly have to work through that as well.
Well, it'd be interesting to know if it was similar or different. The percentage of the Trump family has decided at some point on their own that to not violate the emoluments clause, they would pay the hotel's profits that Mr. Trump would otherwise get to the United States Treasury at the end of the year to avoid violating the Constitution's emoluments clause. Are you familiar with that arrangement and decision?
Just by press reports.
Okay. Well, don't you think, Ms. Ochoa, that if the president has decided to donate his profits so he not to violate the emoluments clause, that's basically an admission that the emoluments clause is effective, as you have said, and that it should have been considered in determining the lease?
I'm not going to provide an opinion on those types of statements. We did find in the report that there is an issue, a constitutional issue with respect to the lease.
Thank you. And apparently the Trump family agrees. Now let me ask you this, Mr. Matthews. They give a percentage to the Treasury. Do you know what amount of money they give to the Treasury?
Are you referring to the lease contract or this other arrangement?
The other arrangement where the Trump family donates, Donald Trump donates his profits.
I'm not familiar with that.
Well, I would submit to you, you ought to be familiar with it. If the President of the United States, who's your boss, decides he's violating the Constitution if he doesn't give this money to the Treasury, and you don't know if he's actually giving the percentage of profits that he gets from foreign governments, which you could know by auditing his books, and you don't know, you are being derelict in your responsibility. The President has said this is a constitutional issue, and he's going to give his profits to the United States Treasury, and yet you don't know what he's deciding to give and whether it's enough or not. This is within your purview, and Mr. Trump has basically said he's violating the Constitution, but so as not to seen as violating, he's going to donate a certain percentage. But there's not going to be anybody looking over his shoulder to see that he donates the right amount of money to not violate the Constitution? I guess that's an answer. You don't care. You want to answer?
What I would say is the question of an emoluments violation, that is pending several litigations before the courts right now. And in that forum, the Department of Justice has argued before the courts there is no constitutional violation right now. So,
but Mr. Trump has admitted it. Mr. Trump doesn't give away money for no reason at all. He doesn't even pay taxes. I yield back.